Special thank you to Seed and Stone Cidery and Lucky Buzz Meadery for sponsoring the show today. They help to make this show possible and supply us with the occasional beverage when we're out there. They've got 10 taps full of meads and ciders made right there in-house. They've also got all sorts of awesome events going on, including an open mic almost every single Thursday where you can come out and show your musical talent. So all you songwriters out there, stop out and grab a cider or a mead and tell them that the Songwriters Couch and the Patrick Joanne Band sent you. Again, Seed and Stone Cidery right here in Rochester, New York. Go out and visit them and let them know we sent you. Thanks, guys.
Welcome to episode number 19. We're past our 18th birthday, as they say at this point, and what a crop. What a crop. So we'll start out how we normally do here. Don't forget to like, subscribe for anyone watching, listening, etc. We also have a Patreon page, so it really helps us out. Even $1 a month helps keep this thing online and buzzing along. And speaking of buzz, we want to thank our sponsors, Lucky Buzz Meadery and Seed and Stone Cider, for sponsoring the show. And of course, we're always looking for more sponsors. So if you're interested, you like what you see here, and you want to get your product out for the people that we are going out to, or whatever you want to call it, yelling at from across the internet, hit us up and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you. And then secondly, our merch is live and out there. I'm working on getting it attached to the YouTube page, but it's not there yet. So you can go, and usually in every video there's a link to it, so you can do that. And on today's show, and I always forget to ask how to pronounce names, so I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the good people at home. What's your name?
My name is Salvatore Lee.
There you go, Salvatore Lee.
Salvatore Sal for short. People call me Sal.
All right. And what do you do?
So I mean, what do I do? I mean, I'm a musician. I guess
musically.
I guess if I had to, I don't know, put a label on it, like singer, songwriter. All my bios that I've written out, for shit's sake. Can I curse on here?
Mm-hmm.
All my bios I've written out. I'll put singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. I call myself that just because it's like the music I record on my own. It's almost like a one-man band recording project kind of thing. Like I play all the instruments on it, but I am mainly a guitar player and vocalist. So like when I've been in bands and stuff, I mostly play guitar. That's kind of always been my main instrument. But on my own stuff, I do also play like the bass and keyboards and synths and stuff, like everything except for the drums, really. On my own stuff.
That's me. That's kind of me. Well, I don't play keys well. Right. But I could play them a little bit. But drums, I could keep a nice rock beat, but I never got into the drum thing.
I'm pretty lost on percussion. It's one thing that I have a pretty hard time grasping.
Yeah. So Sal and I, can I call you Sal?
Yeah.
Is that cool? So Sal and I, we met. We had a show at Photo City Music Hall here in Rochester.
Shout out to Photo City Music
together.
Hall.
Yeah, that place. Just a few years ago, I was in there for an event that they had. And it was way different. That whole lighting system, the screens that they have in there is freaking ridiculous.
Well, they just put that all up. I mean, like when our boy Greg started promoting there. They just kind of souped it up a whole bunch. But.
Yeah, is that the first time you played there at Photo City?
First time I played there. I mean, I'd been there a bunch of times. Like I'd go there for shows from time to time. And it was like, especially now that like Anthology is closed, it's been kind of one of the main spots.
Is it closed?
Anthology's been closed for a while. I'm pretty sure.
Why did I not know that?
But since Anthology's been gone, it's been kind of one of the main spots for like EDM. Like they have a lot of like dubstep shows and shit like that.
I've seen that. They do a lot of like raves.
Yeah,
like
a lot
weird
of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I go there for that a lot. I mean, I go to all types of shows, but they're usually the spot in Rochester that will have that. So like, and I've gone to other kinds of shows there too. But I mean, I'd hang out there. I've hung out there a bunch. I've been there a bunch of times. That was the first time that I played there, though.
Yeah, it was a cool spot, especially with that video feed wall or whatever.
That was sick. Yeah,
it's really, really fun. I was playing around with like getting visualizations on it, but I kind of did it halfway because I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, especially because they've got it split into those three 3 tiers. Everyone, no one has any idea what we're talking about out there, but they have like 3 different LED screens. Like a big one is a backdrop for the whole thing, and then they've got these like half or quarter size ones that come out that look really cool. So, what's that? Oh, yes, that's right. Being that we only know each other from playing kind of one show, and then you came out to the open mic that time that I was running.
At Seed and Stone.
Yeah, Seed and Stone. That's right. I want to get to know you a little bit, Sal. So how about we do our segment as we have been doing, 2 Truths and a Lie.
2 Truths and a Lie. Right.
And I'll try and discover a little bit about Sal here and the watchers at home, listeners. What do you call YouTube people that watch it? Watchers. The watchers.
Viewers like
the
you.
viewers. There you go.
Possible, but
the watchers sounds a little more creepy. That's right. Watchers sounds more creepy than viewers. At home can guess along with us. How about that? All right. So what do you got? So let's hear your 3 facts.
All right. 2 truths and a lie. All right. We'll start off. I ran cross country in high school, all through middle school and high school. And I once participated in, what I think is might be America's largest high school cross country invitational that's in like Central Park, like hundreds and hundreds of schools all day running around the shit. I collect cuckoo clocks. So like the old school, like, bird comes out of the shit.
Yeah.
I got a whole collection of cuckoo clocks, got like 7 or 8 of them. The last one I got, probably my most prized cuckoo clock, is this one. It comes out, it looks like the little dolls from Mr. Rogers, and they kiss and stuff, right? That one I got at this, they have actually a cuckoo clock convention in Cincinnati that I went to one time, right? I got it off this old Swiss guy. He said he used to be like on the ski patrol for one of the big mountains in the Alps and stuff. He said he'd never seen like a young person be into this stuff. So
yeah, you're already getting me here, Sal. I don't know if that it's an off the wall one, the cuckoo clock, but you have a lot of detail there. So, all right.
Could it possibly be a lie if I had a lot of detail? I know. And the third thing, I was born in San Francisco. I grew up in New York, but I was born in San Francisco and lived there like the first couple of years of my life. And I ended up moving back to California briefly. I had lived in Santa Cruz, California for 6 months when I was 19 in a house with like 20 people that like, they all went to UCSC. It was like the big party house every weekend. And like we had graffiti all over the walls. Like it looked like somewhere they'd hang out in like SLC punk or some shit. And I lived in Santa Cruz, California for 6 months when I was 19.
He wins best 2 truths.
Yeah, this is a tough one, Sal. You got me thinking now. So, I mean, the cuckoo clock thing sounds like it would be, like it could be something made up, but I think that can sometimes be used to throw people off, right? So, I don't know you well enough to know whether or not you're tells yet. So, I'm gonna go with the California, living in California, as the lie. Can we get a drum roll? Can you do a drum roll?
I'm going to go cross country.
So
As the lie?
Allie's going cross country.
I mean, I feel like you're just like being generous, like not calling my shit, but no, those are both true. The cuckoo clock one is a lie.
So I should have just, but you see, yeah. So but the last episode with Trent, he said a few, and I ended up getting it wrong because it was like, it was the one that was the most normal or whatever. That was the lie. So. All right. Well,
I just kind of wanted to say.
So you ran cross country for a while?
For all through middle school and high school, yeah.
And then what? In Central Park, there's a
high school cross country invitationals that are like the big meets with like lots of schools and stuff. And there's the Manhattan Invitational. I don't know if it might be. I think it might. I remember hearing people say it was the biggest in America, or at least one of the biggest in America. Huh. They have one. I don't know. I think it still goes on. Maybe it doesn't. For all I know, yeah, it's a big cross country invitational in Manhattan.
Right on. Was it like distance running you were doing, or it was?
That's cross country, so it's a 5K.
Oh, 5K. All right. I used to run a lot. I used to do like 5Ks, 10Ks. I used to do marathons and stuff too.
Oh, really?
I was not fast at all though.
I mean,
I was slow, the slow lumbering, but I finished guy at the end.
If you finished 26 miles, like shit, man.
That's right. That's the way I look at it. And you get the medal regardless.
Yeah,
sure. Of the thing. So you lived out in California. What made you move back here then, if you were out there?
I mean, when I was
so
a
you
kid,
were little.
or when I went back.
So you went back. So yeah, I guess when you went back and ended up back here, what made you make the move from Cali to here?
And it just kind of like didn't really work out. It wasn't the right time in my life to start a new life all the way across the country. It was basically like I was born in California. Like my dad's from there. His whole family is there. So we spent a lot of time out in California when I was growing up. We would like go there pretty much every year to visit his family. And to me, it was always like this mecca. You know, I was like a young like artist or whatever. And I was always like, I just got to get to California. That's what I'm gonna, I'm gonna go to California, start a band, like that whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know, like having been born in San Francisco and growing up here, like my mom's family is here, so like we ended up here when I was a kid. But you know, for me growing up, I was always like, oh, if only I had grown up in San Francisco, kind of, you know, that'd be way cooler. I got to get back there.
So no, instead of L.A., you didn't think maybe New York City, a little closer,
Well,
a little less travel time.
No, because it was in my mind, California was always kind of the mecca, and particularly Santa Cruz. So Santa Cruz, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's it's like one of my dad's best friends, who's like basically was like an uncle to me growing up. He lives in Santa Cruz, and so you know, one of our favorite parts of going there, like we would visit our family, it'd be great. But usually when we'd go out and visit his family, we'd spend a couple days in Santa Cruz and like surf and stuff like that. And I just always
do you
thought,
surf?
You know, only when I'm able to get over to the West Coast, so not super often. I mean, when I lived there, I did more. And you know, when I was growing up, whenever we'd go over there,
Not a lot of surfing in the Great
so
Lakes.
you know,
up here.
that's the thing. Here in Western New York, Central New York, you know, not too much surfing to be done, but I can get around on a board a little bit and know my way around a wave. I can't say I'm very great because I don't get to do it much, but But yeah, so we'd always go to Santa Cruz, and I just thought that place was so cool. You know, I was always like, this is where I gotta be. You know, like so I kind of had it as this like mecca when I was growing up.
Right on. Yeah, we're gonna actually be out in by the time this airs. Is that next Monday? Yeah, we'll be a couple of days. We're going out to L.A.
Really?
For the Grammy Awards in what is it, a week and a half or 2 weeks, something like that. So it's in L.A. obviously, but we're staying in Santa Monica, a little south of San Francisco. But Allie here has never been to California at all, to the West Coast. So yeah, she's gonna love it. I want to take her up like Highway 1 a little bit, show her that stuff. We're gonna go. Have you ever been to the Paramount Studio tours or any of that kind of thing out there?
No, I've only been to L.A. I've been to LA like a couple of times. The vast majority of time that I've spent in California has been in the Bay Area or East Bay, which is much further. Like, you know, either like
it's
toward
like, what,
San
3
Francisco
hours or something.
It's like 6
north?
hours north, I
Was it
think,
6
or something
hours?
like that. It's a big long stay. But so because that's where my dad's family is all like in the East Bay kind of area, or like in the end of the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So that's where I spent most of the time up there. I have been to LA a couple of times.
I dig San Francisco though too.
I love
I haven't
it. I
been
love
there
the
in
city,
so
yeah.
long. But yeah, so we're gonna be there. So maybe you'll have to come along and we can go sightseeing.
I would
your
love to. Sure.
your old stomping grounds. But what got you into music? Is your family into it? Your parents? You have siblings, or what's the?
Yeah, a lot of my family is into different like artistic kind of stuff. You know, music was never either of my parents' like main focus, but it was. So my dad is like, he's an English professor, and he's like, so artistically his wheelhouse is a little bit more writing. Like he teaches creative writing, and he teaches like he's an English professor at Cuckoo Community College. And not to dox my dad on here or anything, but he's also he's a writer. I mean, he's had some stuff published, and
so he's a creative.
He's a creative. He does also play guitar. I mean, I don't know if he's been a songwriter. I don't know if he does much anymore, but I mean, he's more of kind of a cowboy chord guitarist. But he is a good lyricist. So he had like a songwriting kind of duo, like folk sort of thing, with a friend of his at one point, and he was a part of so he does play music, and he always had guitars around the house. So like I just started I got into guitar by playing his guitars, and so my dad is like a. And you know, my mom is like dabbled in different stuff. Like she also, my parents are teachers, right? She's also a teacher, and she used to draw some. She was good at. I don't know if she really does anymore. At one point, she's like painted ceramics and stuff like that. They used to sing together and stuff. So that was like happening around me, in my family. And also like some of my mom's cousins and some of my mom's side of the family have done different work in like Hollywood, and one of my mom's cousins was a co-producer, I think, on this movie called Freak Talks About Sex in the late 90s, which had
Sounds familiar.
blanking on their names, but I want to say Josh Gordon and Steve Zahn were the guys' names that are kind of
Sure.
famous now. One of them was in like Daddy Daycare.
I'm the last person about names.
But my
terrible.
mom's cousin, who is one of the people involved in that, they opened a theater, and I grew up in Auburn, New York. It's about like hour or so east of here, and they opened this spot called Auburn Public Theater. And they had a bunch of different like live music events. So that was one of the first places I ever would play. Like when they had an open mic that I would do there when I was like starting when I was like 13.
Yeah.
So like I performed there
So
when I was a kid and stuff.
Is that around when you started writing your own material, or
Yeah, it's still around now.
his microphone? Just talk. What do you say?
We just need to move this mic.
Oh, okay, yeah, my bad.
So you grabbed your dad's guitar, I'm assuming,
Yeah, that was how
when
I
you
got
first
into
started.
guitar. Yeah.
But obviously you had to learn it. So how did you learn it? Was it just picking it up and kind of playing around with it, or did you take lessons, or?
At first, it was just picking it up and playing around with it, and then I took lessons later. So I had done a couple of other things. Like I'd played piano. I took piano lessons for like a little bit when I was a kid. I was always into different like creative stuff. Like I drew a lot as a kid. I wrote a lot when I was like even in like elementary school. I wrote and illustrated books and stuff like that. I never finished one, but I got one that was I think maybe like 90 pages,
Nice.
and it was like kind of like a pastiche of like Chronicles of Narnia or something like that. You know, the kid finds a portal to a hive fantasy kind of coded world, and he's got to fight the evil sorcerer with a magic sword or something. So I was always into stuff like that. But when I started, like I was probably about 9 when I started picking up my dad's guitars, and fucking with them. And I think the first song I ever sort of taught myself was "Blowing in the Wind" by Bob Dylan. When I was like maybe 9 or 10, and I played it for my parents. Like, how many roads, whatever. So I just kind of played by myself for like a few years and got like really into it. And then when I was like maybe like 11 or something, I started taking lessons.
Huh. So was it? Did you ever try and like integrate your the Chronicles of Narnia storyline into your music, like joining the?
No, I've never done. I've never been in a power metal band or done the whole Blind Guardian.
Right.
Actually,
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin's the only people who've been able to make that cool. But,
Yeah.
Well, actually, so I'm from Auburn, and one of our besides historical stuff, it's really known for a lot of Harriet Tubman lived there and William Seward lived there at one point, but historical stuff. Its main sort of pop culture export was the band Manowar. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They're big in Europe, but they kind of do that whole thing. But no, I was not as into that kind of stuff by the time I started getting into music. But
So when you first started actually writing, because obviously usually when people pick up an instrument or whatever, they start learning. They'll play some cover songs, like usually easy stuff, Bob Dylan stuff, or a Beatles song, or in the '90s anyway, like a Green Day song or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
When did you decide, or do you remember like one of the first songs you've ever written, like what and where that may have came from?
Well, I started writing stuff right away, but the first stuff that I wrote was just guitar compositions and stuff like that. Like before I became really like more of like a full-blown songwriter, cause early on I kind of more envisioned myself just playing guitar in a band or something like that. Then I did early on write a few like actual songs, like lyrics and stuff like that. But I did start writing stuff pretty much right away. Like I got really into it like pretty early on. But the earliest stuff that I wrote would all just be like guitar compositions that didn't usually have lyrics.
Do you find yourself being more like feeling like a lead guitar player, like a technical guitar player?
I that whole time I spent all that whole time like trying to learn to sweep pick and all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I wanted to fucking like shred and all that shit. But.
Can you do a little sweep picking for us so people know what that entails? So I'm definitely more of a rhythm player. And my older brother was more of a lead player, and so he was learning a lot of that stuff too, like learning Van Halen solos by ear and stuff like that. And I was never that person that took on the lead stuff, but I could songwrite. So
I talked about
it was complimentary a little bit.
I talked a big game about myself. It's not going to sound the best.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But basically explain what sweep picking kind of is for people that are not aware of guitar playing techniques.
Oh, it's just a guitar style, like where you play multiple strings, like you play a single note on each string usually, and all usually in one motion, like like something like that even.
Right.
But in kind of hard rock guitar, they'll do shit like that, like.
Yeah, and
It's not gonna sound like great.
And I think that the reason it's called sweep picking for those people that, so what you're doing is you're going
like shit.
up and down in like as if you're
Usually, yeah,
sweeping through.
Sounds a little better, shit like.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the person to demonstrate it, but but it's basically because you're, yeah.
Yeah, sounds a little better on electric. Not that I'm the best like of that style.
Yeah, it's
player in the
definitely.
world
I think lead guitar and acoustic guitars, you hear every single miss. But sometimes if you have a lot of distortion, you can really get your electric going. A lot of those shredders sound better on there than they do sometimes on
sometimes I mean having the
acoustic.
distortion cranked all the way up will bring out like some
you got a little
string noise.
Yeah, but you could also get like harmonics and things in there that probably you won't necessarily hear.
Like that,
So there's an art to that too. You know what I mean? Like letting those mistakes happen with electric. So then you started writing. Was your dad, I guess, kind of an inspiration in terms of your songwriting, or was lyrics and things to the music versus kind of writing as a story? If that
Yeah,
makes
I mean, it
sense.
started out more as to the music. Like I said, like the first stuff that I wrote was mostly just kind of instrumental stuff. I came up with a lot of different instrumental stuff. It was more when I was like, like I said, I wrote some songs earlier, some songs with lyrics earlier than that. My dad definitely was like an inspiration for like songwriting. You know, I mean, he was a good songwriter. I don't know if he does it much anymore, but he did write some really good songs. But it's mostly just the music that I was into. Like I wanted like it as
Well, what were your inspirations?
Oh man, I mean, like when I was a kid, I started out on all the kind of basic dad rock kind of shit.
What?
Like
What's a
Led
dad rock
Zeppelin
song?
and
Okay, yeah.
shit like that. That was like Jimi Hendrix and all that stuff. That was obvious, the basic stuff that you first get into when you're learning guitar and everything. But I mean, I listen to stuff from kind of all over the place now. Man, I listen to a lot of hip hop. I listen to jazz. I listen to metal. I even fuck with classical and stuff like that. I'd say right now, I mean, the center of my wheelhouse these days is kind of like moody, artsy, alternative rock kind of stuff. Like I'm a huge fan of like Elliott Smith and stuff like that, and people like that are like that's kind of the center of my wheelhouse right now. But I still like draw from all over the place.
So, and I ask this of every songwriter that comes on here because that's kind of the main focus of this. I'd like to get to, what happens during the songwriting process, I guess, because there's a certain like magic to it, and then there's a habit as to how songwriters approach writing a song sometimes too. So like for me, waking up early or waking up in the morning, I'm usually fresh then, and I'll pick up a guitar and just start playing, and then I'll usually write during that time. Or I have a couple of whiskeys or ciders, and and stuff. I just start playing around with the guitar, and then there's some lyrics that come out or what have you. Do you have like a process or something that you generally do that songs come out of, and is it something that you sit and do, I guess I would say purposefully, like I'm gonna write a song, or would you say you sit down just chilling and you're like, I'm gonna just fool around with my guitar and something comes out?
So usually, I mean, like, so I don't have like habit about it like in the morning or anything like that. Honestly, the only thing that's really been consistent about my process is that it changes all the time. But right now, I would say like usually the very beginning of a song, like it's kind of halfway between just like the lightning in a bottle and doing it intentionally. Like I have a certain way that I'll try to construct things, and then if I'm lucky enough to construct it in that way and have it turn in, have a lyric built in that I can build off of, then it's like that's usually the best stuff. That's usually the stuff I'll end up recording and stuff like that. But most of the time, the beginning of a song, like the core idea for a song for me will not come while I have a guitar in my hand. It'll be while I'm on a walk or somewhere else where I can just kind of pull, I'm just working with my head. And then when I sit down with a guitar, it's like that's when I get into the specifics, right? So my kind of main process right now, like I said, it's changed so much over the years. Like when I first started recording my own stuff, it was a little bit more like I would come up with something that was kind of like, it was a little bit more like hip hoppy when I first started recording my own stuff. Like I used 808s and shit like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm a little bit more in like a traditional alternative rock kind of sound. But I would just kind of come up with something that would be like a loop, and then I would just rhyme words to get to on top of it to get the words. My process is pretty different now. So like usually like the core idea of a song, I always start with like I want like the chords and melody, but not in a way of like, oh, I just play that and then add a melody on top of it. I try to get like two voicings, like two notes basically that will like weave around each other to make the structure of a chord and chords and melody. And if like I'll take that and just put it with like I really only in the last few years I've started actually writing lyrics as just sitting down and like writing them and like poetry. But so I'll usually take those two. I'll take like chords and melody, and then take like and the way I'll get that right is like I have like one bass line and one melody line. Like I'll start with a single interval. Usually this kind of like my process is like start with a single interval and then kind of go some like take the melody line from it and go somewhere else with that, and then have the bass line. So okay, like it still sounds like mumbo jumbo, but like the song I put out recently called Queen City Girl, right? Like the whole thing is based off this like bass line and melody, right? It's like that's like pretty much the whole thing, and then everything else is kind of ornamentation on top of it. But I'll start with like the interval, right? Like these notes sound good together, and then that melody goes this place, and then it all starts with that kind of interval, and then I'll make musical ideas out of that, and then take just lyrics that I write, just sitting down writing them, and then like the best stuff, the stuff that I usually end up like recording and thinking is my best stuff is like where I'll come up with that interval and they'll come up with that bass line like chord and melody kind of combination, and there will be some kind of words in it that makes like a hook, and it's like, okay, there we go, now I have the concept and I can like build up.
Yeah, it comes. I'm wondering, is that the song you're gonna play?
No, probably
okay,
not.
because I'm wondering what the melody. Maybe you can show me that after, because I don't know the song. I'm wondering what the melody is, because I have something in my head that I feel would be the melody that would come or go along with that.
Well, the melody is this part,
But I'm saying like a melody vocally, I guess.
Well, that is the vocal melody. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just playing like the vocal melody is the.
I see what you're saying.
And then the chords are like.
So you're writing the melody, the vocal melody on the guitar first?
Well, no, because I didn't come up with that while I was sitting there with the guitar. I came up with that when I was on a hike, but just like I came up with like the bass line and melody, but like I said, I usually work from two notes, right? So it'll start with an interval like that, and then one of them like this one's the chord, this one or the bass line, and this one's the melody. So the melody's like,
Yeah.
So I didn't come up with that on a guitar. I went home and played it on a guitar later, and then.
I got you. So what's the name? Is that song out and available?
Yeah, out now.
Why don't we throw that up now? As a matter of fact, why don't you tell the camera there, the right camera, the red, where people can find your stuff too? Because usually I do that at the beginning. I forgot to do that today.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I mean, I have my artist name, I guess, whatever you would call it, is called Vagabond Click. I'm just one guy, but I basically just came up with a band name that I liked so much that I just decided to use it anyway, because I'm just releasing this music out of like a studio project pretty much. My stuff, it's on all the places everybody is, like Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, all that. My artist name is Vagabond Click, but it's like it's so like people's heads explode when I try to explain it to them. I kind of hate the fact that I chose this name, but it's Vagabond with an X instead of an O, because that was like cool when I was in high school or whatever. It was cool like 10 years ago. Vagabond with an X instead of an O, and then Click with a Q. So it's like VAGABXNDCLIQUE, and it's both words are capitalized, but there's no space. It's way too stylized. It's like, but anyway, yeah, Vagabond Click. That like little melody I was just showing him is part of a song my pretty much newest song actually called Queen City Girl. It's on a like 2-song little mini EP called Queen City Girl. It's got 2 songs on it. It just came out like a month or so ago. But I got a bunch of other music. It's in out now on all streaming platforms or whatever.
And we'll post as a matter of fact, just for fun. We're gonna make you work for it. I'm not gonna post any links for it.
Whoa.
And
okay,
you're gonna have.
No, don't make them work.
Oh, okay. No, we are gonna post the links for. Because that does. You ever think so? Maybe what you should do is make a website with like abbreviate or something, like make it a little easier for you to be like, okay, when you're on stage, just remember. vc.com or something. You know what I mean?
You heard me trying to explain
Yeah,
that name. You really want people to try to type that into a
That's
search bar? Like, nah, you got to put the link up there, bro.
No, I'm definitely gonna put the link.
I'm messing with you.
That's right. Like I ended up abbreviating the band name, the Patrick Joan Band, because my last name is impossible for people to
It's
spell.
got like every vowel
And
in it, right?
Yeah,
in a row,
it
you know?
literally does. In my first and last name. But so I ended up for the logo abbreviating it. So I'm hoping that's a little easier. But we'll definitely post it.
CPJB. That's good.
Yeah. But so then you said your process has changed recently.
Well, it's just changed a lot the whole time. You know what I mean? My main consistent process has always been like trying different things. I mean, I think I've landed on something that I've like, this is probably for the most part how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But,
do you feel that as time has gone on, the songs or the songwriting process has gotten, I guess, easier for you? Or do you feel like the more kind of you like it's kind of like a double-edged sword for me sometimes? I feel like I know what the structure of a song is. I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs at this point, and I feel like I sit there and now I think I want to. The way I look at songs is I want people the first time they hear it sometimes to be able to get it immediately, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so I look at like great songwriters like the Beatles, like Paul McCartney and Lennon and Bob Dylan, and even Green Day and some of those bands that write what would be considered from a technical stance, I guess, simple, but they're not simple.
Well, you want a little kid to be able to hum it back to you. I feel
right,
like what you're going for,
but there's enough complexity in there where if you listen to it over and over and over and over and over again, you're not like, I'm sick of this after the second time I hear it, because some pop music can be like that. But I feel like the deeper I get into it, the easier it is for me to, I guess, write parts, but then to actually flesh it out where I'm happy with it, I guess, and make it interesting enough or like not predictable, like too predictable. Sure. Where it becomes, tedious and boring to listen to. I find myself like getting, like I said, more, finding it more difficult to write, even though the songs are almost getting simpler. Like I've been trying to write songs that are maybe 3 chords for the entire song, but write melodic stuff vocally or with the other instruments that are in the band that take it in directions, even though the bass chords are, 2 to 3 chords or whatever. And so it becomes almost more challenge, even though I could probably write the songs I wrote a few years ago easier now. Does that make sense? So do you find yourself like almost like challenging myself to write it simpler and make it more catchy, but make it for a musician to listen to more complex?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll say maybe you just got to challenge yourself to write some kind of like prog metal symphony or something, just for like the practice, just for the kind of like the artistic practice. But no, I mean, the approach I usually try to take with that is like have the core idea be very simple, but then if I want to, I can get complicated on top of that. Yeah. So I always want my core idea to be something relatively basic, like chords, melody, like I said, like something that a little kid could hum back to you, like a melodies that kind of transcend language and blah blah blah. But and then you can kind of get complicated on top of that, right? Like I've picked up a lot of things from other artists that I listen to, is like ways you can sort of decorate what you do. You can have a song that's like 3 chords and a basic melody, but then on top of that, if you want to, you can do. You can get complicated on top of that if you want. You could add a kind of like intricate guitar part on top of that if you want. A thing that I've really like tried to hone in on lately is like interludes and it's hard for me to come up with a good example, but especially if you have like basic chords and a melody, something to like switch one, like a little melody thrown in there to switch one part to the other, like
yeah, I get what you're saying. Almost like I struggle with pre-choruses, writing pre-choruses to things. almost never do it, but it almost ends up having it naturally. Like there's a crescendo that ends up happening there, just the way that it changes. And we're definitely getting a little technical with the parts of the song, but even bridges. Usually, bridge is like an afterthought for me if I'm writing a bridge to a song. But I've been doing this because I'm teaching myself piano. I'm not a great keys player, but I've been learning more and more on the keys. And so writing instead of on the guitar, writing on the piano, and it's completely changed my approach to it. Right? Because I can't play what I can play on the guitar easily on a keyboard. So I have to kind of like think about the chords a little bit more, and I play it very simplistic, one note. Usually I start and then I'll flesh it out into chords. But I find like, because we had talked on the show a few times about like breaking strings. And then not being able to afford a new pack of strings, and so you're sitting there for a month with a guitar with only 3 strings on it, and it changes the way you write, because you're still picking up the guitar and fucking around with it.
You need a pack of strings. I can give you a pack of strings if you need.
No. No, but I'm saying like it opens up. Oh yeah, it opens up some creativity when you're boxed into like a scenario where you don't have all the technique that normally you'd have like on a guitar with 6 strings. Like I've been challenging myself to get on a keyboard and write from there. So when you write, do you write about personal experiences? Is it something where you're writing concepts or like stories? So I kind of do both, right? I'll write a song about I tend to not write love songs, that sort of thing, and I don't know why. I don't really write in that way.
It's hard to make them not cliche.
Yeah, I feel like it always feels like that to me. It always feels like it's getting cliche. So even if I write a semi-love song, it'll have some sort of dark turn in it, But then I'll also write, like I've written a song about Willie Carter Sharp, who was a lady back in the 1920s who kind of started stock car racing. Okay. So I'll write about like stories like that. But it was an ode to her because that song, for those that don't know, I don't even know if it's in distribution anymore. Willie Carter Sharp in the 1920s was part of, what were they called? They were called the Rum Runners.
Okay,
Roanoke Rum Runners, and so she was part of this.
Dad.
Yeah, so basically this group that used to soup up their cars. They invented stock car racing, right? So they would soup up their cars so they could get away from the cops.
Oh, yeah, isn't that why they invented that kind of engine or whatever?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, they would soup up the engines, but leave the car like in their stock configuration, so it looked like a normal car, but they could like get away from the cops because they had booze in it that they were running for the cops. But she was there's only like 2 pictures of her if you look her up, Willie Carter Sharp, and she showed up. She got arrested at one point and showed up to court. She had encrusted diamonds in her teeth, so she had like one of the first grills back in the day. But I wrote a song about her, like a historical thing. I have a couple of those kind of songs. So I really like writing, and I used to write poetry and stories, and I still write quite a bit. What's your approach typically? I mean, I'm guessing there's probably some songs that are different, but how do you generally approach like the storyline, I guess, of the song?
I mean, for a really long time, it was just like when I first started writing a lot of songs, it was just like I would come up with a line that sounded cool and then kind of try to just build off of that. But I mean, now that I've developed a little bit more, it is usually a little bit more conceptual. Like I'll start with kind of a concept, but not something where I box myself in too much, right? So it's like it'll be like it still will usually start with a couple of lines, and then those lines have like a certain concept in it that I'm kind of getting at that I'll work around.
Choose a song of yours. What song is kind of like a concept and the meaning behind it, I guess. What name one of your songs?
So I mean, a song that like a song that I put out like this past year. It's called Miscreant Screed, that I've been kind of like pushing a little bit. The lyrics. So I started writing it when I went back to Auburn and was like just like to visit, and I was hanging out at Casey. I wrote it about Casey Park basically, and So it's an example of like a song that's like it's kind of about a thing, but it's also about kind of like a broader theme, right?
Yeah.
So it's about I wrote it about Casey Park, which is like the skate park that me and my friends grew up on, but in a broader sense, it's kind of about being like not being, I don't know. It sounds corny because every songwriter says like, yo, I write music for the misfits, man. You know what I'm saying? For the outcasts, bro. Or whatever. But it's like, kind of about like me and my friends growing up. Like the lyrics are like, I went down to the skate park and I'm like, man, this place has changed. All these names I don't recognize spray painted on the half pipes. We sat on the ramps and we got high and we scoffed at the real world and how they wore their wasted lives as a badge of honor. We swore we'd never become like them, and I'm still the same as I was then. Got no money, and I'm hungry tonight because I never left the skate park. Right? It's about like it's
about youth. It's almost like a metaphor for a bigger.
Like the skate park is life and your ideals as a kid and like trying to hold so it's about me and my friends hanging out. Me and my kind of like dropout ne'er do well. Whatever druggy friends, whatever. We were good. We were all right. We weren't bad. But it's about me and my kind of friends growing up at the skate park. But in a broader sense, it's about like trying to hold on to your ideals that you have in the face of a world that's trying to make you change and all this.
Do you feel like you obfuscate the details? Like even if you're pulling from experience, and maybe you're saying so, like as a kid, right? Or from an experience you learned kind of this life lesson, or you're observing like life changing over time, and you're just admiring the kind of the beauty of it or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And you're telling it in a story that's actual things that have happened to you. Because I found myself doing this too, where I'll write and it's too specific about the situation. And I think, okay, as a listener, and I only do this kind of after the main concept of the song is written, like I'll blur the details a little bit so that it's more relatable, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm not going to specify certain things just because then it makes it where if someone's listening to it, they'll be like, oh, I can't really relate to that, and maybe they might tune out, and so I'll make it less, detailed almost. Do you do that like in a purposeful way, do you find, or is it something where you're not really thinking about the listener too much when you're writing?
Really depends on the kind of song. So for a song like Miscreant Screed, it was like I wanted to it was like I wanted to broaden it enough to like speak to a universal experience, but also be specific enough to like be honest. Like, so that song's one example. I mean, but the last few songs I've put out were I kind of took a different approach because they were like breakup songs, and they're like like love kind of breakup songs or whatever. And so with that, I kind of took the opposite approach, because with that I was trying to be as specific as possible. Just because if you don't, like with that kind of song, it's like if you're not hyper specific, then it's just like this is the same exact lyrics as every other million one of these songs. So it's like the only way to make it remotely interesting is to like get a specific, universal enough theme. I feel like if you do the specificities right, then it's like they'll still speak to like whatever specific thing.
Like the name of the person. A lot of times,
no names, no names.
But even if I include a name generally in a song, I'll usually change it.
Oh, sure,
just because
absolutely. Yeah,
I almost feel like you have to ask permission if you're gonna like.
Well, yeah, you got to change the name. I don't put the name.
And Eric Clapton, I'm looking at you,
right,
Layla. All right. And all those type of songs, but that's why I ask it, because that's a specific experience, like Layla or whatever, or I don't know what other songs are written about.
Yeah, you got to change
actual
a million, all of them.
You change the
half
names.
Half of them ever, yeah.
Don't sing it, but Roxanne.
Oh, Roxanne.
Mandy.
Oh, Mandy. That's a funny song, Mandy, by Barry Manilow. So it's a real weird chord progression. So
I know it's such a famous song. I don't even know if I've ever actually heard it though.
I remember.
No, I'm interested because I don't.
So,
because I know it's
but
such a famous song, but I don't even.
But
know
it's
if I've ever
it's
heard
called
it.
Mandy, and the chorus is what was
Barry
it?
Manilow, right?
Yeah, Barry
Barry
Manilow.
Manilow.
It's
One of my favorite songs.
how happy you made me, oh Mandy, you came and you right. No, it's fine. And so
What,
I'm
is
not
it like
sing-
a-
I'm not
is it like a
singing it good enough
copyright?
for there to be a copyright.
Yeah.
Don't go
about it. But he wrote that about his dog.
Wait, really?
But
Okay.
yeah, that's about his dog that
I didn't know
that
about
you know they had to put down or whatever, or died, or whatever, because he's like, you kissed me. Was it? You kissed me and stopped me from shaking. But he wrote it in a way that you don't know it's a dog he's talking about, his dog.
Yeah.
But it's about his friggin' dog.
And everybody thinks it's like a love song. Or
Yeah,
about a girl or
most
whatever?
people,
Yeah.
a lot of people, like people that know the song,
Yeah.
generally know it's about his dog. But the way it's written is.
The 90s Can't Hardly Wait used it, and everybody thought, right, as a love song. They used it as a love song.
Yeah.
Can't hardly wait. Okay.
But he made it. Like I said, he obfuscated the actual real meaning behind it, the specifics, so that it would be more relatable. And I'm assuming that they probably did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And so that's always interested me. That song in particular was something that I think about a lot when I'm writing a song, because so many people know it. As soon as you start playing that chorus, people know it and they think it's a love song. So we're coming out on the. This went really fast.
Went really? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got like 5 minutes, but so let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about the song you're gonna play, and then do you have shows coming up, albums coming out? What are things that people can kind of look for from you?
Yeah. So,
Going forward.
depending on when this airs, I don't know how long this is gonna take to
So
come
this will
out.
be next Monday. Yeah.
Okay. So by next Monday,
Yeah,
the
we were
next
re-
show that
we
I
were
have
real
is going to
lazy
have
over the
already-
Christmas.
Going to have already happened.
We were real lazy over the Christmas and New Year's.
So so my next show is on Saturday the 27th at Geneseo, or at it's called Sushi, or the hell, Drum Roll Stage and Sushi Pub out in Geneseo, but that will have already happened by the time you see
Yeah,
this.
that's
probably, so.
interesting. So what is that? It's like is it a restaurant or is it?
So it's a live music venue that's also a sushi bar. Like, it's not a concept I've ever even heard of before. It's
Yeah.
very cool. It's new, and like a friend of mine.
I'd eat the
had a
hell out of some
hand
sushi
in
while
making
watching
it, but-
music.
Well, so come on down next Saturday. I mean, the viewers watching won't be able to, because this will have already happened. But
Yeah,
you can. I mean, if you're
I'll
not
get
doing anything on Saturday-
exclusive access to the
I think you're
show.
doing something on.
I might actually be playing,
on
uh,
Saturday. But
yeah.
if you want to bail out on that, I don't know. Come get a
Yeah,
sushi
screw my
roll and come
obligations.
See me with
I'll just-
Mo Chester. But so that will have already happened by the time people see this.
Oh, you're
I'm
doing
also-
it with Mochester, right?
Mochester, yep.
I
but
have
so-
not seen them. I don't think I've seen them live.
I haven't either. I mean,
Yeah.
I've listened to some of their music because I'm playing with them, but I haven't seen them live either. I'm actually pretty excited to watch them. So I'm also in a band called the Shut-Ins with my brother-in-law and some of our friends. We've played mostly covers since we've been together, but we've started to write some. We played some stuff that I've released under Vagabond Click, and we've written some songs together. We actually just recorded some stuff together for the first time. So the Shut-Ins have a couple of shows in February. We're playing at Photo City.
Oh, nice.
On, I believe it is Sunday, February 18th, and we're playing at the Bug Jar on Friday, February 16th. And it's funny, so both of those shows we're actually playing with some, I think, relatively recent guests on this show.
Oh, really?
Some of the people, what the hell is their name? Denali,
Oh, yeah.
I think, is
Denali.
playing on one of those with us, and
on.
LFG. Alex Rea and
Yeah,
Josh.
and Josh Ketchum. All
Josh
right, so-
Ketchum.
so-
We're playing both of those shows with.
Right on. See,
various-
we're bringing you all the latest music, new music. What do they call it on MTV? They call it like the hot new music. Hot. They called it something like smelling fresh or something like that. I don't know. It was something silly. It was something stupid on MTV.
Yes.
What is MTV playing right now? What are they doing? They have the Real Housewives
Reality
or
TV,
something.
Real Housewives and shit like that. But so yeah, those are the shows I got coming up. I got a song. I got a new song. Like, basically, as soon as I figure out album artwork for it, that I should be putting out pretty
I got some
soon
good
under
artists
Vagabond
if you're-
Click. I'm going back to the studio again in like a couple of weeks to record what will hopefully be the rest of an album that with Vagabond Click that will like be some of the stuff I've already put out, just re-put onto an album, and some
Cool.
more
So
stuff.
what are those dates again? February
16th and 18th.
16th is Bug Jar. 18th is Photo City.
And
Music
the
Hall
Photo
in
City
Rochester,
event,
New York.
Yeah, the Photo City event is it's an event we started doing last year. It's actually a charity event we started doing last year. We're calling it Goodness Fest. So our drummer,
Huh.
Lizzie Goodness,
That's her last name?
That's her last name. Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
like her and her a bunch of her family's like birthdays are all in February. Her father died of prostate cancer, so we it's a charity event that we'll do for prostate cancer.
And
research.
in lieu of that, or in honor, I guess, of that, go out if you're over the age of 40 and you have any family history of prostate cancer, colon
100%,
cancer,
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to say this on camera here. I have some family history, and I had the honor of having a colonoscopy recently.
Well, good. Yeah,
and I'm only in my 40s. So if I can do it, they give you great little injections or whatever, and you don't realize what's happening as it's happening. But go get yourself checked, because early detection is usually life saving. So in honor of that, and lots of cancer has been helped by that. So when is that show again? That's the
18th.
The 18th
of
Photo
February.
City Music Hall.
Yeah.
Come out to that, and that's the one with Mochester.
No. My next show that will have already happened. That
Okay.
one's the one of the Mochester is a solo gig of mine.
Okay.
Like Vagabond Click, except for I'm one guy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. But that will probably have already happened by the time.
All right, so come out to that show, help support, or come out to both of them. I'm sure there'll be whiskey at both.
there will be whiskey.
There'll
at
be
both.
whiskey at both.
There'll be whiskey. There'll be
and
beer.
cider. There'll be cider. I don't know about mead.
I don't think either
every
of those
place is
places
gonna
carry Seed and Stone or Lucky
No.
Buzz
Yeah, no, I don't think
products,
they do.
unfortunately. But
They'll have some sort of cider. Yeah.
But they should, Bug
But
Jar,
hey,
Photo City Music Hall,
I'm-
like a lot of people, sometimes you go to a show, you're like, oh, I want a Miller Lite or some shit. It's like, I really wish I could sip on some mead right now.
That's
What
true.
Do you,
That's true. And I always say drink local because, usually they say it about honey, but I pretend like it's alcohol, and I say alcohol. If you drink local alcohol, you won't have any allergies anymore.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah, it's true.
got
And if
the
it's
pollen, it's got the
local
wild
Buzz
pollens in it,
Meadery,
right?
if you get some mead, it actually is from honey. I know, but Lucky Buzz is their meadery, which is from honey.
Lucky Buzz
And so-
Meadery. So if you're a millennial like me and you grew up reading Harry Potter, Albus Dumbledore, I mean, it's fallen out of favor a little bit. J.K. Rowling,
Yeah.
questionable statements, but Albus Dumbledore loved his mead. So I don't know.
See?
You want to drink like a wizard,
See?
bro? Come
yeah,
on,
you
man.
want to drink like a wizard? You want to be healthy?
And if you don't, then you hate Dumbledore.
That's right. If you don't, you hate Dumbledore. So what's the song we're going to hear?
All right, so the song I'm gonna play is it's one of the it's called Tomorrow's Ashes. It's one of the two songs I put out on my most recent little mini EP called Queen City Girl. It's one of the sappy breakup songs that I was talking about, but
All right.
yeah. So this song is called Tomorrow's Ashes. It's out now on all streaming platforms. Please go stream it.
Yes, go stream it. And before, if you can tilt your microphone there, I'm gonna address the audience here. If you have not yet hit the
this,
subscribe button, hit the like button, shared this or commented, I need you to do that now. We'll wait.
Or will come to your home.
No, we'll wait.
Just everybody waiting.
Riveting content.
We'll wait.
All right.
They didn't do it yet. I could tell.
I think they did. I think
I
they
can
all.
tell
I
they
think we
didn't.
just got a bunch of new subs. I don't know.
No, we're gonna wait.
All right.
Everybody, just
Could tune my guitar over there. I think
Yeah,
it's
let's
already,
tune your
it-
let's
it-
tune your
it is-
guitar.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
we're gonna
it's
tune your
already-
guitar because there's a
pretty sure
couple
it's
of people
already
that didn't hit it yet.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah, you're gonna listen to them tune until
riveting content.
as soon as that subscribe button is done being hit and shared.
Pretty sure it's tuned. But I
It'll
just
be
gotta,
tuned.
Double check it's been in the case.
I heard the bell.
All right.
Did you hear the bell? Okay. Yeah, you got to ring that bell. That's what they
Bell.
say, right?
Okay. Yeah, there we
All
go.
right.
All right.
Let's hear some
All right.
beautiful music. All
The
right.
song's called Tomorrow's Ashes. Saw this pink granite, I knew you would have picked up and put away with all your seashells and sand from Cape Cod. I still find the feathers you'd wear in your hair linger like your glitter on my skin. Felt like I'd grown up with your friends. Now it's all just a memory. Got your birthstone on my dresser, aquamarine pendant. And I hope you make it out to Denver, wherever. Hope you're still under the bright lights with your fishnets and thigh highs. Hope nothing takes away your smile. It's such a pretty sight. I'll still find the feathers you'd wear in your hair, linger like your glitter on my skin. Felt like I'd grown up with your friends. Now it's all just a memory. So close the blinds, 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 close the blinds.
Sorry, I had to move the microphone, but dude, what a guitar line that is. I feel like I was back in medieval England, but I had Sid Vicious singing.
Well, it is the
over
basic like waltz formula.
Yeah, it's good. It's great.
I actually don't even play
No,
this
not a
shit
lot of
on
people
recording,
write
but-
in that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's
That timing is interesting. So, what made you write that?
breaking up with my ex-girlfriend.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's one of my songs
Yeah.
where it's like, you know, like with certain songs, it's like there's kind of like a more universal kind of like a metaphorical sort of meaning to it, and like that's one of the ones where it's just a sappy breakup song I wrote about my ex-girlfriend. But
Well, the guitar part is crazy. Show me what are some of those chords? Do you even-
so it's like
Can you get up a little? Can you get on that? Do you see his guitar in that camera, the right camera? Can you
play it like a 50s
do what?
guitars.
Yeah, just go up to his real quick, just so. No, just it's fine. Just he'll hold it up. Just switch to
So
his
it's funny.
camera.
It's
There you
actually
go.
essentially the same chord progression as "Stairway to Heaven," but it's so it's like an A minor. It's like a C augmented, and then just regular C, and then it's like a D
minor
slash
something?
F sharp,
Oh.
and then just F, and then this kind of weird like I wrote this song without like particular chord progression in mind.
No,
So I guess this
I couldn't
would,
tell you.
This would technically be an E minor, but an E minor with a G sharp in the bass.
It's such an interesting.
But it I didn't consciously copy it, but it is essentially the same chord progression.
well,
as
that's
Stairway
it's
to
ju-
Heaven, but
Yeah, I mean that's just a natural progression. Even
no, it is. Yeah.
There's a
I mean, it's
bunch
like
of
I'm not like, at least, like they ripped it off as they ripped everything off of it.
I really dig that actually.
Well, thank
Can
you.
you play the progression just one more time for me? I just want to.
Like,
I really want to see it.
That's the main chord version, and then the B part is like it's a D minor, D minor with a major seventh, you'd call me out for not knowing what chords are
Yeah,
in
that's
my own
fine.
song.
I couldn't tell you what it is anyway.
D minor, then just regular D minor 7th, G, C, C 7th, or no, C major 7th, C 7th, dominant 7th, and then
Yeah, you don't have to.
F major 7th.
It's super interesting that you would write something in that waltz tempo, right?
Yeah.
But then that chord progression too.
Well, what it was, I
dig your stuff because I don't think you knew this, but I was listening to you. I was backstage at Photo City, and there's like a little green room there, and we were all.
It's the first show I've ever played with like a real green room, actually, which
Yeah,
is pretty cool.
yeah,
it's
it's nice
pretty
to
cool to
have
go
that.
back there. There's like a mini fridge or something. You're giving me a beer and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no one thinks to check the mini fridge. There's always beer and alcohol.
Wait, did you
and
not
stuff.
bring that beer?
No, it was just in the mini
It was
fridge.
just there.
It's
Oh,
in the
shit,
green
I thought
room,
you
man.
brought that beer. Okay. All right. No, see, before we went, I asked them to leave a bowl of M&Ms, but like take out all the green
Yeah,
M&Ms.
they
you
have
know what
to
I'm
do
saying?
that, yeah.
Like, I just wanted to make sure they read the rider. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's right.
But it was.
I found a couple green M&Ms in there. I was not too happy.
Yeah, I know. Every M&M though was just. It was just
You know what David Lee Roth actually
Viagra
used
that
to
was
do that?
coated in a candy coating. So
You know David Lee Roth actually used to do that?
yeah,
They
no,
put on
but
the rider. They
right, but
take out
it's
the green
it's
M&Ms.
so that you make sure that they're
It's
reading.
so
what
because
you're-
he was like hanging
what
from
you're
the
asking for.
ceiling. Like,
But you know what's funny though? So there was there was an issue. I know there was an issue here in Rochester because someone ended up canceling a show, and there was like a big to do about it because they canceled it. But the reason they canceled it is because it was a bigger artist, and I'm not going to talk about it because I think there was a big to do about it here locally.
You're not gonna talk about it,
but they had a rider that said this needs to be provided, like the sound system, et cetera, et cetera. And the venue didn't bother reading it. They're just like, oh, here's a money grab. They're popular. Let's get them in. They didn't read anything about it. Like, why would we come and
Right.
play that? Like,
that's
sorry.
That's why you got to tell them to leave a bowl of M&Ms and take out the
That's
green
that's
M&Ms,
right. So you
because if
know
don't,
it's those little details. Because then if that isn't there, you know the whole rest of the night's
yeah,
gonna
the
be you're on your
pyrotechnics
own.
are going to set you on fire like James Hetfield.
And what I've learned from playing live shows, and I know this is the songwriter's couch, but I'll give a little of advice to people that perform live. Have backups of your backups. Bring everything, assuming that the venue is gonna not have anything.
Sure.
I always bring microphones. I bring XLR cables. I bring cables. I bring an amp. I bring enough where if I needed to, I could perform live
Yeah.
just with what
Okay,
I've got.
that's a solid piece of advice. I'd
Yeah,
say,
yeah, because
Can't count on these guys. Can't
I've
count
showed
on
up
these
at shows
motherfuckers
and had to play, had to duct tape a microphone to a coat hanger, or not a coat hanger.
That's pretty punk rock.
coat
bro.
rack.
I don't know. That's pretty sick.
And so, yeah.
That's pretty punk rock.
So, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
One more time, where can people find you? Oh yeah, Coat Dang.
Yeah, so anyway, people can find me on, all of the DSPs, all the typical places. Spotify is really where I kind of want to drive people. But, again, Vagabond Click, spelled really weirdly. Vagabond Click with an X instead of an O and Click with a Q on all the things. I'm on Instagram as Sal Pacino123, like the act. It's all like Al Pacino,
like
like the
that.
actor, but it's Al Pacino.
That's a
You
good
know,
one.
It's it's not bad, huh?
memorable.
And I'm also on TikTok as Vagabond Click, same name as my my artist name.
right.
The shut-ins you can find playing around Rochester, and we should have some stuff out on the internets relatively soon too,
Yep.
because we just started recording stuff.
And
so.
send me the links to if there's event pages or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll post all that in the comments. Thank you everyone for listening for real. We really appreciate it. I mean, I do this kind of just for fun, but also for everyone that's listening and finds it interesting. And if there's something you want to see more of, if there's people you want to see on here, you want to see certain songwriters, etc. Rick Beato, I'm calling you out. I know you're a Rochester.
Rick Beato's coming on, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, is he a Rochester guy?
Yeah, he's a Rochester guy. I think
Does
he's
he
at
live here, or is he just from here?
Fairport, yeah.
Really? I
So
had
Rick,
no idea.
Rick
What-
Beato.
Yo, Rick Beato, come on, bro. Let's
Come
get
on,
it popping.
let's get it going.
Let's
We
get it
can
popping, bro.
exchange
Come on.
podcasts.
Talk about
Yes,
guitars.
I'll come on there. I'll talk about me. I'll talk about everyone that I've had on and the same. So, Sal, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me.
Hopefully, we get to play more shows together.
Hell yeah.
Everyone watching, thank you again. Like, subscribe, etc. And we'll see you on the next freaking episode.